Well, hello and welcome to Round Glass. I'm Vishvapani Blomfield. Thank you so much for joining me for this session in my series Beyond Breathing. And in today's practice, we're going to be exploring how we can move towards one-pointed awareness. So, what is the number one distraction in your life that undermines your capacity to focus? It'd be great to hear from you. So please use the chat to share your experience, and at the end you can ask any questions. So we have some responses already. Deadlines, says someone. They can actually help you focus sometimes, but they can also be a distraction. Stress and emails, family needs, noise, cell phones. Cell phones are always there, always sort of calling to us. There's all this stuff that you can look at in your cell phone. So yes, thank you for those things. I can relate to those. Thinking about this question of focusing the mind, what came to me was the experience of having a dog. Now, I'm a new dog owner. Before this year, I'd never had a dog. And we got a lovely dog called Tessa. She's a greyhound. And so we had to keep her on the lead to start with. And so I was just getting used to the experience of taking a dog for a walk. And I thought I'd just let her go where she wanted. And so it was very interesting. We were following her. I was following her through woods and all sorts of obscure paths that I'd never even knew existed. But then, and those of you who are experienced dog owners will know my mistake, she just stopped letting me tell her what to do. And I had to get the initiative back. I had to, and other dog owners told me this, you have to show who's in charge. Otherwise, you'll just be led higgledy-piggledy. And so I did. And it worked, and now I can let the dog off the lead and she will come back to me. And all of this reminded me of my mind. My mind, when I meditate anytime, will lead me higgledy-piggledy anywhere at all. And I have to, when I want to meditate particularly, but other times as well, make a certain kind of effort to stay focused. I have to guide my attention. And that is one of the things that we need in meditation. So when we do a practice like meditation on the breath, the basic thing that we do is to establish a sense of calm. Then there are different things that we can do from that. We might open out into a perspective on our experience, exploring the body, our feelings, our thoughts. Or we might take that basic calm as a foundation for a deeper kind of concentration. And this is an important dimension of meditation, going more deeply into concentrated states. So that's what we're going to be exploring today. How, rather than opening up to become aware of different aspects of our experience, we really focus, we really stay on track, gathering the different streams of our attention into a single channel, a single river of awareness that's flowing simply in one direction. Okay? So, we're going to start in the way that we start for any period of practice, by establishing a way to sit that's going to be supportive. So what that means is something that's comfortable, at least comfortable enough, but not so comfortable we're going to fall asleep. If you're in a big, soft armchair, then that's not the optimum posture for meditation. We want something that helps us feel upright. Sitting on the floor is really good like this. Sitting on a chair, particularly if you can sit away from the back of the chair. And lying down is fine as well, but I wouldn't advise it for this kind of approach, where we're really focusing on having clear attention. When we lie down, we're naturally a bit sleepy. It can be very nice and relaxing, but it's not quite the same as being really alert and present in the same way. Okay, so just take your time to get the posture in a way that you want. And I invite you to close your eyes. Now, you don't have to close your eyes. Some people meditate with their eyes open. You may not feel comfortable closing your eyes, but I encourage you to do so if possible. And the reason is that we reduce the amount of input. We reduce the visual stimulation. And that's a very strong stimulation. Just closing the eyes feels as if we've moved from one space, which is the external space, to another space, which is the internal space. And that's the space that we experience primarily through the tactile sensations of the body. And this is important if we want to focus, that we're reducing input. So let's start to gather our attention in the body. Let's take a deeper breath. Breath flowing in. You want to roll your shoulders as you do this, just get a sense of the body. And maybe another deeper breath. And then as we breathe out, just really letting go. And with that letting go of the breath, we can also feel that we're letting go of our thoughts, of all the things that call on us through the day, our preoccupations. Let them go. Let it go. And gradually we come to a greater sense of presence, just being here and being still. So we can acknowledge our thoughts, recognize that there are thoughts. Of course there are thoughts. Our mind's had stimulation from all of the things we've been doing, all the things we've been thinking about. That stimulates our mind, and it doesn't just stop. But we're going to shift from that. And the way we're going to shift is by taking another focus, and that's going to be the breath and the body more broadly. So let's just bring our attention to the breath. All that means is noticing that the body moves as we breathe. Noticing how it moves and really engaging, sensing, feeling these movements. So the tummy is rising and falling. The chest is moving. We can feel the air in our nostrils and windpipe. But the tummy is a good focus because it's quite low in the body, we feel grounded. So staying with the sensations of movement in the tummy. And to help us stay present, we're going to count the breaths. So we breathe in, we breathe out, and after the out breath, we just drop in a count, 1. Breathe in, we breathe out, 2. Breathe in, breathe out, 3. So do this in your own time, in your own rhythm, your own pace, and go up to maybe 8. The number doesn't really matter, it's the number that feels right for you. And then come back to 1, breathe in, breathe out, count 1. So just dropping in the count very gently. It's not really about counting. The counting is there to help us bring our attention to the breath. We're probably noticing thoughts continuing in our mind and tugging at our attention. So when we notice that, just letting the thought go and coming back to the breath, coming back to counting. If you've lost count, just start again at 1. So this process of drifting with the thoughts and then bringing ourselves back, we might have a feeling for it by thinking of an image of a boat that's bobbing on the sea. And the current pulls the boat in one direction. But there's an anchor. And the anchor just stops the boat from drifting with the current. Tugs our attention back to the breath, counting after the out breath. So now we've been using the count to help us settle, to help us avoid drifting off with the ocean current. If we like, can drop the counting now. Just staying with the breathing. If you want to continue using a count, then do so. Up to you. So this frees us to really explore the sensations of the body. We're going to stay with the breath and focus on the area where the sensations are largest, the movement is biggest, and that's the tummy. And we can just feel how the muscles of the abdomen rise, stretch, expand as we breathe in, and then soften as we breathe out. Breath flowing in, breath flowing out. Feeling the sensations, enjoying them. Enjoying the simplicity of just sitting quietly, breathing, letting the breath flow. So noticing the sensations, feeling them changing, flowing. And again, we're bringing our attention back to the movement of the breath and the experience of the body. As if the mind was a pool of water. And as we sit, as we guide our attention, the pool gradually becomes calm, the waves reduce, and the calm water is transparent. We can see deeply into it. For the last few minutes, we're going to shift our attention again to focus on the breath contacting the body at the tip of the nose. So we're really moving towards one pointed awareness now. At the tip of the nose, the air brushes the skin. There may be a sense of coolness. The first point of contact might be very clear, or it might be rather blurred and indistinct. So just bringing our attention to those sensations. Very subtle sensations. It might take a while to really notice, to arrive, to become present. When we do, these subtle sensations can be very enjoyable. Even as they shift and change. Gathering the whole of our attention, our awareness, our presence, energy, all of it gathered onto this tiny area of sensation. As the breath flows in and the breath flows out. And then we're going to start to broaden our awareness, feeling the whole body. Maybe taking a slightly deeper breath. We're going to make a gentle transition out of the practice Again, moving a little, moving the shoulders perhaps, maybe the neck and the fingers. Just taking our time though. And you may want to continue to sit, continue with your meditation practice. Otherwise, we'll just start to bring the practice to a close, and when we're ready, we'll open our eyes. So it's important always to take a few minutes just to make that transition, to absorb the practice, not to jar ourselves. And then we can just see if there are any questions or comments. So, thank you so much. Counting my breaths seemed to slow my racing mind. Okay, going to take this off the cushion to combat stressful work moments. Hope that's okay. Of course it's okay. I was just thinking, that comment made me think of the way what mums say when their children are losing their temper. Just take a moment and count to 10. It's actually very good advice. It slows us down. Yeah. So, next question. Can you explain the anchor again? Does it anchor my breath or the thoughts that flow in and out of my mind? Okay, thank you for that. So the idea of the breathing anchor is the breath is like an anchor, and our attention is the boat that's on the surface. So then the thoughts are like the current, and the boat is going to drift off, but the breath pulls us back. Okay? Yeah, it pulls us back to present moment. Right, I hope that's clear. How many counts do we need to make in an average pace? Well, there's a traditional way of doing this practice, which is that you count up to 10. You breathe in, you breathe out, you count 1, you breathe in, you breathe out 2, up to 10. Okay, now you're just breathing in your normal way. Okay, we're not changing how we breathe. We're breathing at our natural rhythm. And now, although the traditional thing is 10, I think that can be a bit much. I find I get lost between 1 and 10. So I prefer to do 6 or 7 or something like that. So that's why I say, you choose your number. Right, next question. But there's a few of these, so I better get through them. Best time to practice, in the morning or before sleep? Well, that's partly to do with you, whether you're a night owl or a morning lark. In general, the morning is a good time because your mind is less stimulated by other things. Actually, the counting, well, if you want to have really intense one-pointed awareness, that's probably a morning practice. And before sleep is probably more going to be a sort of relaxation type practice. Which of these exercises will focus the mind the quickest? What we did was a 15-20 minute practice then. There are all of these, they go together as a gradually more subtle awareness. I really think you should just practice, explore what works for you. If you want something that's going to work really quickly, just focus on the breath. Just take a deep breath like this. I had a heart surgeon on a course once, and of course he was performing life and death operations, one of the most senior heart surgeons in the country, I should say. And he said that he'd learned to practice the 1 second breathing space. When something went wrong in surgery, he would just pause, just take a breath, give himself the space and make a good decision. Because if he made a bad decision, he might be spending hours putting it right. Okay, so thank you so much for those questions. I think this question of learning to focus our minds is really central to meditation. We'll come back to this, I think. And it's really important in the modern world, which is kind of built for distraction. An effective life needs a degree of focus. So I'd like to finish with a quote that I came across recently from a Formula One racing driver called Lewis Hamilton. He's very, very successful. He's the world champion racing driver and has been many times over recent years. So this helps us to make the point that mindfulness and meditation aren't just about doing things slowly. Formula One racing cars go at 180 miles an hour. And they have to be engineered to stop them taking off like aeroplanes. Lewis Hamilton, a very interesting man, had ADHD when he was a kid, put all of that into racing, but then in lockdown discovered something else, discovered meditation. And so he's been talking about this. And Lewis Hamilton says, it's about being able to channel your energy and flow freely without any blockages. I think we all have baggage, we all have history, and we carry those things with us. And sometimes we take it to work with us and it affects our days. For me, on my weekend, that's when he's racing, it's about just unblocking everything and flowing, having all my positive energy flowing into my passion, what I love doing. And it allows me to do it better than I've ever been able to do it. So whether you are leading an ordinary life or you're a Formula One Formula One racing driver, thank you for sharing this time. Please continue to explore your meditation practice with us. We love having you. Check out our daily meditations at round.glass or on our app. Have a great day and keep your focus.